Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession. The candidates for the Bachelor of Business Administration degree from the Henry B. Tippie College of Business have gathered to celebrate commencement. All are in their places. These proceedings are hereby called to order. You may be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Dean of the Henry B. Tippie College of Business and Professor of Marketing, Dr. Sarah Fisher Gardiel.
Good afternoon. What a beautiful setting for our December graduation. 2007 was the last time that we had a Hancher December graduation. We've been waiting and working and dreaming for that long to get us back here, and we are just delighted to be in this stunning space. On behalf of the Tippie College and the University of Iowa, I want to welcome all of you, graduating seniors, family members, friends, faculty, and staff of the college. All of us here are proud of our university, our college, and especially today, our graduates. This commencement allows us to honor their accomplishments. We come together to celebrate and to reflect on an important milestone in the lives of these students, the completion of their undergraduate education. Today, many emotions fill this hall. For our graduates, I believe these emotions range from excitement to anticipation to celebration, uncertainty, and maybe even apprehension about the future. For parents or spouses, the range of emotions, I'm guessing, include pride, and in some cases, I suspect, also a profound sense of financial relief, and maybe other kinds of relief as well. I want to start by introducing the platform today, our faculty and invited guests. Please stand when I introduce you, and we'll wait to acknowledge or applaud at the end. To my right, far right, Bob Walker, who is a lecturer in management and organizations with a special focus on our entrepreneurship programs. Stacy Brooks, lecturer and director of the undergraduate program in economics. Jay Christensen-Zelansky, professor of management and organizations. Patricia Miller, our distinguished alum and president and CEO of Matrix 4 Inc. J. Bruce Harold, the 21st president of the University of Iowa. Kurt Onstreicher, Senior Associate Dean and Professor of Management Sciences. Ken Brown, Associate Dean of the Undergraduate Program and Professor of Management and Organizations. Todd Hogue, Lecturer and Director of the Undergraduate Program in Finance. Nick Street, Professor and Department Executive Officer for Management Science. John Murray, Associate Professor and Director of Undergraduate Programs in Marketing. and Kevin Donato, lecturer and director of the undergraduate program in accounting. Thank you all for being here with us. I also need to acknowledge faculty and staff who are, actually just faculty, who are serving as marshals today, Joyce Berg and John Garfinkel. I'm not sure where they are. There they are. Okay, good. Thank you, and stand and be recognized. And I want to give special thanks and recognition to the members of the Iowa Brass Collective. On horn, Jeffrey Agrell. On trombone, Jonathan Allen. On tuba, John Manning. And on trumpets, Amy Schindel and Evan Fowler. Finally, all of these proceedings will be interpreted by Scotty Van Eisingham. Thank you, Scotty. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for this commencement ceremony, and this is where I'm going to go wildly off script. So I hope you didn't memorize a script. You're with me? Okay. A couple of years ago, we had a women's summit event, and Patricia Miller came in to speak. And it was really my first time to get to know her, and I will tell you that she blew me away. And I looked at this young woman, and even without knowing about the amazing background she had, I said, this is a role model for our students. This is someone that I want engaged in our college as often as we can. How would I describe her? Her professional experience is unbelievable, frankly. Poise, wisdom, courage, and above all, authentic. You have to use the word authentic for someone who comes to speak to a formal graduation ceremony in a bow tie and cat shoes. I'm not making that up. All right, so here's the educational credentials, and I'll get through these, but they're unbelievably impressive. From the University of Iowa, she has a BBA in marketing, a BA in journalism and mass communications, a minor in Spanish, a certificate in entrepreneurship. That was her undergraduate experience. She went on from here to the University College of London, where she received a graduate degree in legal and political theory. Now here's the part that gets me very excited, and that is, what has she done with all of that? She spent many years as a marketing executive in 2 international pharmaceutical companies, Eli Lilly and Halozyme. In the context of her many years in biomedical and very quickly changing technology around product development, she was opening new markets. She was creating product launches internationally and nationally at a level of experience that could only have been breathtaking for someone a few years out of their undergraduate experience. And I want to honor and acknowledge that, but what she has done more recently is really taken a very different turn. So after living abroad and working abroad and a really kind of sexy corporate experience, she came back home to the Midwest, and she bought her grandfather's failing plastics manufacturing facility outside of Chicago at the ripe old age of 33. And we all know what's happened to manufacturing and plastics manufacturing in this country. It was a turnaround of epic expectations for her to take that business and make it into something that was going to thrive in a very, very different economic environment. So it is with great pride that I introduce you to our speaker today, the CEO of Matrix 4, my friend, a great alumnus, and an engaged alumnus in our college, Patricia Miller.
Wow, thank you for that introduction, Dean Sarah. I appreciate it, and I'm so grateful to be here. Congratulations to each of you today on this grand accomplishment. I'm honored to be here and always celebrate a chance to come back to such a gem of a city and university. I must be honest, though, when Sarah asked me to speak today, I was a bit surprised. I usually consider the stereotypical speaker a bit older than I am and perhaps a bit wiser, and was wondering what kind of sage advice I could come back and share with you, as I'm not winding down my career, but I'm actually just in the midst of it. I reflected on my graduation from the University of Iowa in December of 2004, which does and does not seem that long ago. I had gone out with my sisters the night before, as I'm sure many of you guys did. And definitely was a longer night than it needed to be, and realized on my way home that my chapter here was closing, which was a bit of a yay and a bit of a yikes all at once. I did not have a 10-year plan when I graduated. I graduated, as Sarah said, with an honors of BBA in marketing, a BA in journalism and mass communication, a certificate in entrepreneurship, and a minor in Spanish. And at the time, the entrepreneurial program was just getting off the ground. I was not someone who knew what they were going to do when they grow up when I was little. I knew what interested me and came to better understand that at my time here at the university. But all of that, the double major minor certificate, really was just a rationale that I had given myself that at least I had options. I was headed to do my master's degree in London, England that fall after Iowa, and I had that much figured out, open to what may come next, but not sure. I still don't have a 10-year plan. I wanted to remain open to opportunities and experiences, to embrace life. Perhaps this is part of the new landscape that you and I live in. The goal for many was to join a large company after graduating college where you could grow and retire from, often with a pension. That's still a possibility today, and ample opportunities and resources exist in some of those large companies. They have attractive developmental programs, retirement plans, resources, big staffs. But there's also opportunities to join startup companies, small companies, or take the business that you launched here at the university to the next level. As Sarah mentioned, I'm on the board of the John Papa John Entrepreneurial Center, and I've been completely impressed by the students and their passion and so much effort in getting businesses launched off the ground from here. When I was a student, we talked about what companies could be potential and thinking in the hypothetical, but now students are actually launching businesses, which is really exciting. We now make choices in smaller time frames, perhaps what suits us for the next 2 to 5 years. After Iowa, I had the opportunity to work across these company archetypes in various industries, roles, and geographies. I worked in politics, pharmaceutical and biotech, and now manufacturing. I moved 10 times since being here at Iowa and was exposed to government organizations, Fortune 500, small companies, and now startup. Today I own Matrix 4, which is a design and manufacturing house in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. We design, engineer, 3D print, and full-scale manufacture plastic products. And it's really exciting to be part of the next chapter of American manufacturing. The company just turned 40 years old on Friday. We decided to do a warehouse party to celebrate. But 2.5 years ago, it was on the verge of closing. My grandpa had started the business, but with the changes more recently in the globalization of manufacturing and many things going offshore, the business was not in a good place. I envisioned this shell of a business and what it was once capable of and looked at, is there viability? I had come home for a biotech retreat in Chicago. We were trying to ask Wall Street for a $100 million raise. went back to see the factory and realized not much was going on. Asked my grandparents what the plan was, and they said, we're going to close the doors. So I immediately called all of my friends at Boston Consulting and McKinsey and said, what in the world's happening in plastics? And decided 2 months later to let my board know I was leaving biotech and buying this business. I have loved the entrepreneurial experience and the roller coaster of what makes it beautiful, but I also love the entrepreneurial spirit of being in a large organization. And yes, there's positives and negatives of each. How open to change and innovation, how much bureaucracy or politics, what's the company culture, what are you exposed to, and how many resources are available. Small scale or large scale projects and travel. And still some of the things that are not so awesome exist in all of these types of organizations. My grandpa thought I was silly to do a graduate degree in England, that I was wasting my time, who would go study law in England and not in America. As a young leader, when I joined biotech in San Diego, one of my teammates, who was 20 years older than me, said, I will never respect a leader who's 20 years younger, wears glasses and high heels every day. And I've definitely experienced coming in as an outsider to a pretty insular industry in manufacturing, and as a woman to boot. But each of you, man or woman, will experience this in your career. What always helped me was staying true to myself and knowing and owning my personal brand, even today in cat shoes. And that if I was good at what I did and I could handle it with grace and diplomacy, but always be my authentic self. What I believe for sure is we are each the creator of our own story, and we each have the opportunity to dream up the best life for ourselves and to live it. I believe the best journey one goes on is a journey with oneself, finding out what makes us tick, why we are the way we are, and how we will choose to live our most meaningful and happy life. And trust me, it's not always easy, but when you know you're on your right path, it makes it all worthwhile. Things change, life changes, priorities change, landscapes change, politics change, and probably everyone prior to us has said, we are at a pinnacle time. And we for sure are. We just had a historical presidential election with candidates that years ago would never have been fathomed as options. And we are certainly in a global world with smartphones and technology moving at a fast clip. And options like Uber, Facebook, Amazon, among many others that are entertaining and disrupting our marketplaces and what we may have thought wasn't possible. Many with leaders at the helm that aren't wearing suits and ties or bow ties, but hoodies and sneakers, not much older than you or I. All forcing us to think about what are the implications of these advancements and what do they mean? If we have Uber and self-driving cars and smartphones and no gas needed and electric cars, later are we going to need garages and highways and large parking lots? The best is yet to come, and the degree from the University of Iowa is one of my best treasures, and I'm sure will be yours. I'm beyond excited to think about the magic that each of you will create in your life and what it will mean for all of us. Congratulations again, and always go Hawks.
Thank you, Patricia, for your inspiring remarks. The business world expects great things from Tippie graduates, and change is happening faster than ever. From what I know of our students, they have what it takes to meet and even exceed the expectations that the world has of them. It's my pleasure now to introduce today's student speaker, Wenxing Ding. Wenxing Ding comes from Shanghai, China, and is graduating with a BBA in accounting, a minor in Spanish, and the International Business Certificate. Wenxing participated in Tippie's global internship program, interning with legal tax and financial advisors in Madrid, Spain. On her return to campus, she served as a global ambassador for the undergraduate program office, assisting students in preparing for their global internships. Wenxing also served as vice president of networking for the accounting honor organization, Beta Alpha Psi. Wenxing is honored to be the first native Chinese student to deliver the Tippy commencement speech. Her parents have traveled from Shanghai to attend the commencement ceremony. After graduation, Wenxin plans to enroll in a graduate program in accounting in the US to further her education. Wenxin?
Thank you, Dean Brown, for that kind introduction. Good afternoon, President Harold, Dean Gardio, University of Iowa faculty and staff, graduates, families, and friends. Congratulations to all of us. We finally made it. It seems like just yesterday that I received the admission letter telling me I had been accepted to the University of Iowa. Today, with so many family members, friends, and the professors present, I am going to graduate. 4 years ago, I started my journey in Iowa City when I stepped out of the airport in Cedar Rapids. I was excited and felt refreshed by my new environment, especially when I realized the temperature in September at Iowa City is exactly the same as winter in Shanghai. I asked my roommate at the end of September, "Is it winter yet?" and kept asking her the same question every week until the mid of November when the first snow came. Then she told me, "Now winter starts." The beautiful leaves in autumn, the suddenly dropping temperature, and the white snow that covers everything. I love all of these. That's the start of my love story with this university, this city. The first syllable of Iowa sounds similar to the word love in Chinese. So we always call Iowa City Love City, and the University of Iowa, the University of Love. Here, love is everywhere. At the end of my first semester of my junior year, I broke my leg the first day after the Thanksgiving holiday. I was suffering from the pain. I had no idea of how to make an appointment with the doctor immediately. I was worried about the formal presentation during BCAP and also upset about how this accident was going to make my life inconvenient. But everything I was worried about turned out to be not that bad at all because of my community here at Iowa. My friends sent me to see the doctor immediately. My team members encouraged me a lot and helped me finish my presentation. My professor, Dr. Highland, was worried about me and asked whether I would need to sit down to present. When I was feeling vulnerable and was injured, my people, my peers, and my professors helped me recover. Mine is only one example. We all have stories like this one. Tippy has magic to bring you warmth and love. Even though I'm 6,975 miles away from my family in Shanghai, I am not alone. The environment that Tippy builds is like a family. Here, you will never be homesick, and your community will always pick you up when you fall. Because this community has embraced me, I've learned to love traveling and communicating. After I selected to major in accounting, minor in Spanish, and get an international business certificate, I decided to do something meaningful that could combine all of these interests. So I did a global internship program and interned 2 months in Madrid, Spain. That was a lot of fun. I had my 21st birthday in Madrid with a bunch of new friends. I learned to drink sangria and chat about my life in Iowa in Spanish. Las alitas de pollo and Buffalo Wild Wings son muy deliciosas. Hace mucho frío en invierno, pero me encanta Iowa. But I also faced the language barriers, real-life work challenges, and obstacles due to culture shock. I wrote down my concerns, my feelings, and my fears in the essay reflection that I submitted on ICON. My tipping instructor, Stephanie Graby, encouraged me so much. What my university taught was, don't be afraid of challenges and changes. You will learn from them. I was moved and felt lucky about all the help and warmth I received during that time and continue to receive. I really wanted to give that back to other students. Therefore, later, I worked as the global ambassador for this program to encourage and aid students like me. I told international students, the instructors in the study abroad office were very helpful when I applied for the Schengen visa. I suggested students who had never left the US to keep an open mind about food, like Fedua de Marisco. Trust me, the noodles with seafood is worth trying. I instructed all the study abroad students to give themselves a break, like sitting in a cafe to relax, to get rid of the culture shock. I told them, never give up. You are not alone. There are always people you love and who love you, standing beside you, willing to be there for you. Shakespeare once said, love all, trust a few, and do wrong to none. This university has taught me to love all, to trust more than a few, and to bring your love to others through your education, your friendships, your work, and your future. What TIPI gave me is not only the knowledge and skills I will need in my career, but also a strong network of families and friends and an optimistic attitude towards life. In the future, I'm going to bring these to other people, other places, and even other countries. 今日我以爱荷华为荣，明日爱荷华以我为荣 which means once a Hawkeye, always a Hawkeye. Go Hawks! Thank you.
Thank you, Wenshin. At this time, we would like to recognize those students graduating with honors and academic distinction. The Tippie College of Business awards degrees with highest distinction to students in the highest 2% of the graduating class, with high distinction to students in the next highest 3%, and with distinction to students in the next highest 5%. Distinction is designated by gold stars worn on the left sleeve. 3 stars indicate graduation with highest distinction, 2 with high distinction, and 1 with distinction. As I call each group of students, please rise to be recognized. Audience, I ask that you hold your applause until all the students graduating with distinction have been recognized. Will those graduating with highest distinction please stand? Will those graduating with high distinction please stand? And now will those graduating with distinction please stand? Audience, please join me in congratulating these students. These students will also be recognized individually during the presentation of graduates. Membership in Beta Gamma Sigma is the highest recognition a business student can earn. To be eligible for membership, students' individual academic ranking must place them in the upper 10% of the junior class or the upper 10% of the senior class. Students graduating as members of Beta Gamma Sigma wear royal blue and gold cordons draped over their shoulders. Would the students graduating as members of Beta Gamma Sigma please stand? Congratulations. We would also like to recognize students who are graduating in the Tippie College of Business Honors Program. This program provides an opportunity for outstanding students to do independent research in business and to work closely with one or more faculty members. Each of the students graduating with honors has maintained a 3.5 grade point average and written a thesis relevant to their academic interest or major. Students graduating with honors wear white cordons draped over their shoulders and will be recognized during the presentation of the graduates.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Business Administration please rise? President Harold, these candidates have completed all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Business Administration and are recommended to you by the faculty of the Tippie College of Business for the conferring of this degree.
On recommendation of the faculty of the Tippie College of Business and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer on each of you the degree Bachelor of Business Administration as qualified and designated.
Okay. Will the graduates please be seated? Dr. Ken Brown, the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Program and Professor of Management and Organizations, will now recognize the graduates individually. Will the marshals please begin leading the graduates forward to be recognized?
Joshua Hannon. Tom Johnson. Deanna Alfaro. Dylan Barkley. Jeff O'Brien. Connor Loftus. Yu Lu. Jiaofang Xu. Xiaojun Yu. Jing Wang. Unsheng Zhou. Mingyu Song. Shanru Meng. Yuqing Zhen. Derek Steinauer. Jackson Linder. Austin Schaub. Wenjia Li. Wenqing Ding. Mitch Campbell. Tony Luigi. Michael Law. Kelsey Meyer. Sarah Elizabeth Strube. Nina Renee Thompson. Kelsey McGowan. Nicole Ryan. Paul Lander. Aaron Bowlerjack. Madison Wignall with high distinction. Renee Shu. Caitlin Ryan. Mira Wang. Adam Bogart. Jace Taylor. Chris Henry. Daniel Huff. Sean Cordum. Yuchi Liu. Aaron McLaughlin with highest distinction. Lua Han. Matthew Kenny. Katie Meyer. John Leone. Connor Hargett. Nicholas Chavez. Ludi John. Shiran Zhang. Sushinyu Gu. Alex Gracer. Ashley Cabot. Amber Osborne. Nicholas Logan. Trevor Alexander. Jining Wong. Ling Tong. Yuan Wong. Josh Droll. Nifan Yuan. Jake Krischel. Daniel Kitzler. Jake DeFano. Elliot Smith. Devraj Thakor. It is, okay. Sylvester Podobinski. Noah Kirschbaum with distinction. Wesley Rose. Grant Holbrook. Sili Yan. Chuen Huang with distinction. Chenleon Ding. Mengjiao Yu. Duyuan Chen. Jia Song. Run Du. Yuchi Ji. Ji Jiao. Nicholas Leinen. Nicholas Samuels. John Brewer Callahan. James Pallas. Zachary Monroe. Jay Miller. Nicholas Murray. Levi Hacker. Daniel Maurer. Qinghua Wang. Xishuan Li. Xinkai Gao. Neil Zhang with distinction. Peng Lu. Andrew Napoli. Christopher Gowrin. Austin West. Michael Hansen. Michael Kirby. Daniel McInerney. Songwoo Park. Jihyang Ha. Zachary Volk. Logan Forbes. Constanos Capitonos. Yingxuan Bi. Lydia Zhu. Carly Hansen. Kayla Shanks. Zachary Clemens. Megan McFadden. Caroline McCready. Alexandra Bartlett. Eleanor Miller. Chloe Best. Daniel Giles. Aaron Muir. Nicole Neal. Josh Williams. Zephyr Chu. Wenlong Shu. Wenju Duan. Eric Erbstauser. Quinlan Kavanaugh. Kabir Badmus. Janelle Orton. Chad Banky. Zichi Liu. Gon Lee. Shen Chen. Yan Pan. Davy Hirschfield. Alex Thieryoung. Sarah Abelt. Alejandro Ortiz. Wangchu Chung. Heejin Park. The turning of the tassel is the traditional gesture by which each student signifies passage from degree candidate to graduate. Will each of you now mark your new status by turning the tassel of your cap from the right side to the left side? We congratulate each and every one of you.
Graduates, since you arrived on campus, each of you has worked extremely hard toward a goal that you have reached today. Wearing your cap and gown, walking across this stage, and receiving your degree from the Tippie College at the University of Iowa. As you make progress toward your degree each year, you faced challenges, you made discoveries of yourself and of others, and you grew into leaders who will make a difference in our communities. For those of you in the audience, we feel your pride in these individuals, and we heard it too. I love that. But you also should be proud of all that you have done to help them accomplish their goals. Your guidance, your understanding and compassion, your faith in their abilities, and your love and support have been critical to their success. For what you have done to these graduates, we thank you. Graduates, I think it's your time to applaud the audience. I just want to provide a few closing thoughts to the graduates. What you will take with you as you leave this college are a lot of powerful memories and positive attitudes, I hope, as well as that degree from the University of Iowa. We hope that you take pride. You have received a degree from one of America's leading universities. Your degree has not been given to you without careful consideration. And as you enter the workplace, you will discover that what you have learned in Iowa rivals and may even exceed what others have learned elsewhere. The second is a strong work ethic. There is no substitute for hard work. As Harold Janine said, in the business world, everyone is paid in 2 coins, cash and experience. Take the experience first. The cash will come later. Tippie students are known for their readiness to work hard, their willingness to meet challenges, and their ability to overcome adversity. As Tippie students, you have demonstrated this work ethic daily. As graduates, take that work ethic with you as you enter the next stage of your life, and it will serve you very well. Finally, we hope you take compassion. Today, many of you have reached the end of your academic journey, and eventually you will all reach the end of your professional one. When your professional journey is done, remember that what really matters are the relationships that you develop and nurture, the people you touch, and the lives that you affect. Remember those who helped you, influenced you, and played a role in your success. We hope that in the years to come, you will remember fondly your time at the Tippie College and support this institution as alums with your time and your talent and your treasure. We are very proud of the Tippie class of 2016. In addition to being academically talented, you have demonstrated leadership, community spirit, and a global sensibility. You are ready to be citizens of the world. As you leave today, I encourage you to remember the words from William Jennings Bryan. Destiny is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be achieved. Now, before we depart, I want to invite all of you to join us for a reception honoring the graduates out in the lobby of this building. There's another ceremony this afternoon, so we can't linger too long, but we hope you will join us for a few minutes and take pictures and just revel in this moment. And as we conclude today's commencement ceremony, I will ask that everyone remain seated for the recessional, and the platform party will exit, followed by the graduates. Thank you. Come join us in the lobby.